Did you coincide this announcement with your birthday on purpose?
Well, not really, but, I was trying to forget the fact that I'm turning 59, so I thought this would be a good way to do it.
Yeah, well, you can hold. You get to 59 and you hold.
Right,
you don't get any older than that.
That's what I was hoping.
So you are in.
I'm all in. I've got a lot of enthusiasm, support. My family's all in, and I'm ready to make the run. I know it'll be difficult, but I'm ready to do it.
Why?
I think it's important. The Senate has been basically dysfunctional over the last several years. I don't think, and I think we need diversity in our delegation, both from a party and a gender standpoint. And I think I have good ideas that I've put forward in the House of Representatives, and I want to put them into action in the Senate. And I think if there's one thing from this election that people are tired of, it's not getting anything done. It's the stalemate in Washington, and I want to help break that.
But what would be the difference between, look, you've been there long enough to know how it works. I mean, it's a tough nut to crack there in Washington. And Senator Rockefeller has seniority on some significant committees. He's been there 5 terms. He has a lot of connections. What would be the difference between what you think you could do and what he's already doing?
Well, I think I have a different view on the energy resources in this state and how important they are to the nation, and I don't have support of the president's health care plan. That's a good contrast with the senator. I think that having the government between you and your doctor is something that's unacceptable to West Virginians. So I would work on legislation to unwind that or rework that to real health reform that I think people want. I think we have a whole different view. We probably view the problems the same, but we have a whole different way to reach those solutions. And I think I more properly reflect what people in West Virginia are thinking or feeling right now.
And I mentioned this earlier, I know that in the political world in West Virginia, there's always speculation about tension that may or may not exist between candidates. Sometimes it's real, sometimes it's not. But what is your relationship with Senator Rockefeller?
Senator Rockefeller and I have, I think, a very good relationship. Throughout the 12 years that I've been in Congress, he has been warm and friendly, inclusive, and really, to my surprise in some ways, because he had such a tense relationship with my father, but Senator Rockefeller has been a true gentleman and friend to me. So there's no personal driving me to a race. I talked with him last week. We had a very cordial conversation as we have over the last 12 years, and I really appreciate his warmth and his sincerity when he's worked with me. And
he said in his statement that he appreciated the fact that you called him, and then he stated out his positions, and which is understandable. Is it possible, and I don't want to be Pollyannish here, is it possible that if it is you two running against each other in 2014, that you could have a campaign that's on a slightly higher level than the vast majority of campaigns today, or will the nature of campaigns simply take over and we know what will happen?
I mean, I would hope that 2014 will be the campaign for Senate that deals with issues. I mean, I sort of lined them out there just briefly in the beginning, the contrast on approaches on how to solve our large problems. But the problem I see, and I think this is national, it's not so much what the candidates are doing, it's the other independent parties that come in. And so for, as much as we could control that, I think that's the one that sets a lot of the negative tenor, unfortunately, in campaigns through the country.
If you and Senator Rockefeller had 3 or 4 debates in 2014, then that could be very, very enlightening. That could be a very high-level campaign if you could do that. And I don't know what Senator Rockefeller wants to do, but if the polls indicate anything, it's probably close right now, and it's way, way, way early. But have 3 or 4 debates, right? I mean, why not?
Right. I think debates obviously would be very, very good in all different parts of the state. And I think, in Senator Rockefeller's statement, one of the things he did say is that people are tired of the constant campaign. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to get out early so I could have my intentions known. And then, I'm not going to campaign here straight for 2 years. I'll drive everybody and myself crazy. I think it's time to govern now. We've got a lot of problems. And we'll have time to talk about debates in 2014 and all those issues that I think will be high-level campaign. That's what I look forward to. I'm not afraid of a tough campaign. I've obviously had many. And I've got a lot of energy to do it. and I've got a lot of support.
On that, though, Senator Rockefeller did say that, did question your timing and say, well, why now? People are tired of campaigns. Campaign's been going on for 2 years.
You know, I understand that, and actually I took that into consideration when we chose the date. But I really think what we were trying to do, and I was trying to do, is to alleviate all the swirling, like, get on your show and me act, coy or like I don't really know what I'm going to do, when I actually did know and do know what I want to do. I'm ready, and so I thought I'll go ahead and put it out here, and then all the scrambling can begin for my congressional seat, and anybody else who's looking at the senatorial seat knows that I'm serious and that I'm planning to run a full-out major campaign. All
right, Congresswoman Shelley Moore Capito, Republican 2nd District, announcing today her U.S. Senate candidacy. It's good to talk to you. While I have you, though, let's talk about issues for a minute. Where are we on the fiscal cliff?
Well, I think we're going back tomorrow to Washington, and the fiscal cliff is looming. And I think, I've said, I think all of the leaders, the president, Boehner, and the president of the Senate have given some leeway in their statements for negotiation. I think we want to try to solve this. We don't want to take it all the way to the edge. I don't think the American public want that, and I don't think they deserve that. And so hopefully what I would like to do is extend the tax relief for the next year and then get into full-out tax reform, tax fairness, get rid of the loopholes and the special interests, figure out how we're going to generate more revenue, and figure out how we're going to, the significant cutting that we're going to do. We can do this, and we're actually a little further along than I think a lot of people realize. And there hasn't, I'm not planting a stake in the sand of things that I absolutely will not do, like Nancy Pelosi did that right before we came home in Thanksgiving, and I think that negates what kind of your bargaining position would be. I think we need to keep all options open, and I think that's what they're doing. I think they're working hard. I'm optimistic about it, but I tend to be that way anyway.
But on that, and this may be a difference between you and Senator Rockefeller. In his statement, he said, "My focus right now is on the national budgetary situation, the fight with West Virginia families. Quote, making sure the very wealthy finally start paying their fair share again for the first time in decades and rebuilding a strong middle class." That is a point where apparently there's a difference between you and the senator, because you have voted against raising taxes on the wealthiest of the country. But I think the last time you were on, I asked you about that. Is that a movable point for you?
Well, I think that we've got to look at, and I have voted against raising taxes on anybody. As we know, in those higher income brackets, a lot of our small businesses and job creators are in that bracket because they file as individuals. So I think we've got to be very, very careful. And it's easy to say point blank, I want this to be on individuals. So you're thinking movie stars and very wealthy Bill Gates types. But I think we need to look at everything. We need to look at what revenues we need. We need to look at what cutting we need. We need to look at how we're going to balance this budget. And so I'm thinking that the best strategy is to keep everything in play and look. But I have voted against raising taxes numerous times, and I'm not sure. I'll just have to see the package when it rolls out.
Congresswoman Shelley Moore Capito, Republican 2nd District, and now U.S. Senate candidate 2014. Congresswoman, thanks for your time, and happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
All right.